Thank you, Summer. If any point in time you get excited, you want to just jump up and grab a piano or a guitar or something, just feel free. So, the service today is going to be extremely ambitious in that I am inviting us to heal the world right now, today. Us, right now, in this moment, healing it and revealing it to itself by being the love that we say we know we are. Because too often, we see the denial of the truth that we know is true. And here we are with treasures in our hearts, in our minds, in our very bodies, in a language that's accessible among people where we can talk to each other and we can tell each other the truth that we know is true, but the world out there does not know it's true. So what are we doing with it? I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm just being straight up with you. I feel like I drank like 50 Red Bulls. But really, it's just the love that I know is true. And I came to a point where I can't pretend like I don't know, and I probably won't let other people pretend like they don't know either. So I don't know if y'all have heard, but in Ireland a couple days ago, Ireland had their version of George Floyd. And a young Congolese man, Yves Sekila, a Congolese guy, died in Dublin outside of a department store under the same circumstances as George Floyd, held down until the point where he couldn't breathe and he died. Should not have happened. Things like that should not happen anywhere at all in a world that is formed from love, with beings that are made from love and are made to love. And so we're gonna heal some of the world this morning, starting with ourselves. So I'm gonna say to you, I'm gonna invite you to close your eyes, maybe put your hand on your heart, maybe hold your own hand, but connect you to you. And I'm gonna say these words to you, and I am inviting you to hear them as if they were the first words you ever heard in your life. And these words are, you are loved, you are lovable, and you are loving. Speaking to that child within you, you are loved, you are lovable, and you are loving. And then I want you to take ownership of that. Don't let it just be something that comes to you from the outside, but feel it in the inside, in every fiber of your being, every cell of your body. Say to yourself, I am loved. I am lovable. I am loving. And again, I am loved. I am lovable, and I am loving. And with that, we begin again. Can we pull up the first photo? So I hit you up with a dose of adorable, bam, bam. This adorable photo is of our dog, Angel, who does not always act like an angel. She's a rescue, and sometimes we use that as our excuse when her behavior shows up. We go, she's a rescue. And Angel is looking at her little brother, a duck, Pumpkin. Now, I'm gonna start by telling you this story about how Pumpkin came into our lives. So about 3 months ago, my daughter said, Dad, can I get a duck? And I said, okay, this is an opportunity. What do I say to her? Because I don't want a duck. And so I said, what is the most Unity thing I can say? So I said, listen, the fact that you asked for a duck suggests that you have already received the duck in your spirit. Connecting with your inner duckness. So the answer is yes from the universe. And so you cannot be attached to that duck coming through me, Because when I hear, can I have a duck, I want to say no. However, if the universe brings a duck in, I will not resist it. And then she said, okay, because she has a child mind, so she received it, in consciousness. And I said, I'm off the hook, because I'm not going to get a duck. But lo and behold, the universe does what we say it does, and a duck laid an egg in our front yard. And left it there. And she came home from visiting a friend and said, Dad, there's a duck egg in our yard. And I thought my wife snuck it in there first. I said, did you put a duck egg in the yard? She said, I did not. I said, okay. So now we have this duck egg. We put it in that incubator. Micaiah looked up all the things, said in about 27 days, according to AI, we'll have a duckling. And lo and behold, pumpkin. And Angel's like, what is this? So now Angel has a little brother. Maybe it's a sister, but we call it a brother because we can't tell. Pumpkin. Next pumpkin picture. Look at that. If I didn't say anything, those pictures would be enough. And Pumpkin's just chilling. And I'm learning from Pumpkin, right? Because I'm sitting there thinking to myself, the first folks this duck ever saw was humans, right? Doesn't know any different. Has a sibling that's a dog, a couple bunny siblings. We had a party. It was like 50 adults. All these people saw the pumpkin. Kids came in touching Pumpkin. So all Pumpkin knows is that Pumpkin came in the world adored by a lot of people and other creatures and doesn't know otherwise. And if Pumpkin ends up hanging out with some other ducks in the future, because eventually Pumpkin will, and those ducks say, hey, look out for those humans, man. They are no good. And don't get close to a dog because it will wring your neck, and bunnies are not as cute as they pretend to be. Pumpkin will say, what are you talking about? I was raised by humans. My sister is a dog, and I have some cousins that are bunnies. I don't understand what you're saying to me. And Pumpkin's world and those other ducks' worlds will not match. And there's going to be tension, right, between what Pumpkin knows to be true and what these other ducks from their perspective know to be true. And hopefully those ducks won't tell Pumpkin that Pumpkin's granddad, who is me, has eaten duck before, because that would just be very disheartening to poor Pumpkin. And they'll say, not my granddad. He never ate an orange glazed duck and smiled while he did it. Never happened. Next picture. So I look at this and I think, I would have never asked for a duck, but I definitely would have asked for this. Whatever this is, if I had to live the whole life that I've lived right now, with all its troubles and all its joys, and it came to a moment where that moment of cuteness existed, I would have said, man, well, that was worth the ride. That was worth the ride. Next picture. And even though now this is Pumpkin, only 4 weeks later, because ducks grow fast. 4 weeks later, this is Pumpkin with his sister saying, look at you. Got your pool and everything. And interestingly, they were fighting over a piece of cheese a little earlier, but that's their reality. But I bring that up to you because each of us comes into the world with our own reality. We come into the world with experiences that we might not be able to share with other people, because we have our reality and other people have their reality. And then when they come in contact with one another, we try to tell them the way we see the world is the way they should see the world, and blah, 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 and we go back and forth, and we create things that don't need to be. So bringing that into my own life, because I've been reflecting on it a lot, is I think about my own life, and when I was a kid, I was living in a house with 4 adults when I was a baby. So my parents tried to have a kid, took a while. I emerged eventually, and we lived in a duplex with my godparents, who were also trying to have a child but hadn't had one yet. So I had 4 adults showering me with love, somebody was always holding me, somebody was always carrying me, someone always was calling me, making little sounds that my godfather still makes it to this day. Whenever he sees me, he goes, and then, because that's what he always did. And then I just go, oh, Uncle Willie, you know. And we still have that relationship to this day. And they showed me that I was loved. And then my parents broke up. And my dad moved away. And my mom had another kid who was very sick. And so she was in the hospital going back and forth with him. So I stayed with my godparents. And for a while, I wasn't confused which one was my actual parents until I had to go back to my mom. And then I never got back to that full of love all around me situation. In fact, things got progressively worse in my life. But something inside of me kept telling me that I'm loved, I'm lovable, and I'm loving. And no matter what happened that tried to tell me otherwise, my baseline kept trying to go back to that. Until the point where people thought something was wrong with me, and I even started thinking something was wrong with me because of the things that happened. I'm just being full disclosure. I've experienced many, many things. I'm not going to tell them all to you, but I'll tell you an example. I literally got beat up by a school bus of kids and punched, kicked, slapped guys, girls, thrown in a ditch, and thought I was going to die and did not, obviously, or y'all are watching a ghost. But something, no matter what happened, something kept telling me I'm loved, I'm lovable, and I'm loving. And people even said to me, like, how can you like yourself? Because they kept trying to break me down, but it was because they did not know that they were loved, lovable, and loving. Everything told them that they weren't worth it. And as a black person, they were trying to educate me in the world that they knew and thought, what's wrong with you? But what they didn't know was that my background started out the way it did with that much love. And they didn't know that when my mom and dad split, my dad married a white lady, and I had these two blonde-haired, blue-eyed older sisters that my dad said, these are your sisters. I'm like, how'd they get, I thought I was what? Where'd they come from? But I accepted them because I was a little kid. And people would tell me, like, that can't be your sister. And I would say, that's my sister, because that's what I was told. And I lived in this different world where I went back and forth between black community and white community, black community and white community, with a fluidity that was mine, but to other people, it didn't make sense. So they would be like, what are you doing? And I just lived the life that I lived. And the people in the system tried to make me conform to what they thought was normative. And I wanted to conform to love. So I'm going to switch gears just a little bit. When I originally was going to talk to you guys, you all today, I was going to talk about Michael Jackson. And I was even going to do the moonwalk, but the carpet's here, so it's not going to work. Let me see. No, I can't do it. Okay. So anyway, but the reason why I was going to talk to you about Michael Jackson, and some of the younger folks here might understand this, there's an obsession with him again right now. He has the #1 movie in the world, #1 song in the world, #1 book. Been dead 17 years. People's timelines on social media is just MJ all the way through. And people might be wondering, like, why is that? And I know there's a lot of controversy about his life, and I'm not going to get into all of that. But what I'm going to say is that just like you and I came into this world and we had a circumstance that told us how the world was, and then we lived into it, and then our worlds hit other people's worlds, and there's conflict. This was a person, this is his life, but also metaphorically for all of us. This person was raised by the world. 5 years old, on stage, millions of fans telling him, you're lovable. They stole this guy's clothes. He couldn't even take his clothes to the cleaners when he was 6 years old because people would steal them because they wanted to get close to this guy's aura. Like, that's how it was. And he lived with that as his reality for a long time. And then the world started to do to him the same thing that it's done to all of us, and the same thing that many of us will probably, unfortunately, do to our kids, is they said, grow up. It's time to be an adult. Blah, 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 blah. And yet every spiritual tradition that we've ever held in high regard actually says the opposite. Every tradition says what? Y'all know, be like a child. Even the Christian tradition, if you can't, actually pull up the quote. Let's see if that matches. Pay out. All right. So it says, at that time, the disciples came to Jesus and said, who then is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? If it was today's language, they would say, who is getting the most clicks and likes? And he called a child to himself and set the child before them and said, truly I say to you, unless you are converted and become like children, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. And it doesn't mean a place where you go after you die. It means the consciousness, the mindset of knowing the reality of who you are, of seeing the world with new eyes. If you can't get converted and be like a child, you will not see this. So whoever then humbles themselves as this child, they are the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And it's not saying like there's greatness, that there's only a limited amount of greatness. That one person's the greatness because they beat y'all to the punch, because that's the competition world we live in. Each and every single one of us is the greatest. Every single one of us. I'm the greatest. You're the greatest. All of us are the greatest if we can enter into the child mind, the new mind that sees the world not as we've been taught it was, but as it is, emerging from love, uninterrupted, unalloyed, unblemished love. That is all of our reality. That is what we have come into the world as, and then we forgot that. And this person, as a metaphor, Michael, was given that and snatched back. And then he tried to keep feeling it, keep going towards it, keep remembering what gave me this energy, what brought me into this world, what made me dance, what made me sing. And the world kept saying, no. It's time to grow up. And that's hard. Because every single person I've ever met in my life is still dealing with crap from their childhood. Every single person. I haven't met a single one, except for my duck. But every single person is still dealing with stuff from childhood, trying to get back to it. When we get into relationships and we want to be in a relationship with someone, it's because they're trying to get back to that feeling that we felt when we were a child. We can trust, we can pour ourselves out, we can give ourselves to the world, where everything we do is cute, where everything we do is beautiful, where everything is full of wonder. All of us want this. But we don't receive it and we don't give it. We wait for something outside of ourselves to tell us that we're worthy of it. When you were born worthy. And if every single one of us remembered that we were born worthy, and we went out into the world and we looked at people and we saw the worth in them, they would see the worth in themselves, and this world would change. It would be what it's meant to be. And that power is resonant in each and every one of us, but we have to accept it. I see kids grabbing on to Michael Jackson. When I was raised, I wasn't even allowed to listen to popular music. I could only listen to church music, and a lot of it was organ stuff that was like, la, 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 la. That's what I was allowed to listen to. My grandma was an organist, and some kids snuck Michael Jackson to me. And my mom was like, what are you listening to? And I heard Man in the Mirror, and I was like, I'm gonna be like that. And then my mom said, what you listen to? I said, this person named Michael Jackson. And I thought my mom was going to get me. And my mom goes, Michael Jackson. Well, I grew up with that Michael Jackson. And she let me listen to Michael Jackson. There's one artist that my mom let me listen to. And now my kids have that same artist in common. 3 generations, same person. But it's not about the person, it's about what the person represents and try to represent. When I was in seminary, one of my professors, progressive Christian guy, he taught that, in some traditions, they say, Jesus saved the world. And he said, well, Jesus didn't save the world in the way that people say Jesus saved the world. Jesus saved the world by showing us what should never have happened, that an innocence should never be destroyed in this world, that this was a loving person that gave his life and tried to do good and then got destroyed by the same world that he tried to do good for. So he said that in that way, we are saved by the acknowledgement of what should never happen. So anytime we see something like George Floyd or Eve Sakila or what happens in some of these schools and all these things, these people die needlessly for us to remember what should never happen. And I think that one of the appeals of Michael Jackson to these kids right now is that they see what should have never happened. They see that a person can love and put themselves out there and get all the attention in the world, and they still get destroyed by that same system. We live in what we call an attention economy. Have y'all heard of attention economy? So it used to be the information age. Now they call it the attention economy or the attention age, where likes and clicks and getting views and all those things, getting all that attention from the outside world is what gets monetized. And then by that, people know their value. And so there's like attention. If a person having the attention on them makes them valuable, then Michael Jackson becomes a commodity that is the most valuable commodity of attention in our system. I don't think he chose that. That's what got projected onto him. But now we also see through his life the warning that we cannot allow attention from outside to determine our value. Because if a person has that much attention and then that attention is taken away from them, what happens to them? They lose all their worth. But actually, each and every one of us, when you put your hand on your heart and said, I hope you said it, I am loved, I am lovable, I am loving, that's all the attention that you truly need. That fills you with all the fullness of love, of life, of God, of all those things. And that, nothing can be taken away from you. Can we go to a couple of next quotes? Because I'm going on a roll, but I know people want to eat some snacks in a little bit. So, in the beginner's mind, that's the same as the child mind. It says in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the experts, there are few. A child can look at a gift, you can give them the gift and they'll go for the box. Because the gift, the toy might just have one possibility. The box has infinite possibilities. The child mind, the beginner's mind, always sees possibilities where the expert mind, the mind that thinks it knows everything, only sees limited possibilities. Next quote, please. With the beginner's mind, we have the inherent capacity to recognize what is good, what is beautiful, and what is true. I remember getting punched in the face by somebody else and still seeing them as beautiful and didn't know why I could see it. And I was mad at myself because my mind said I'm supposed to hate everybody just being this way, but I couldn't turn off the love. I said I was ruined by love for a long time, but I don't really mean that, but it felt that way. Next quote, please. So this is from Michael Jackson. He gave a talk at Oxford University, which I highly recommend that people look up, where he talks about his childhood and his life. But he says, if you enter this world knowing that you are loved and you leave this world knowing the same, then everything that happens in between can be dealt with. He came in knowing he was loved and he was trying to remember it, but could not. He put it out there for other people, but he couldn't remember it himself, and he got destroyed trying to remember something. And in that same talk, he forgave his father for all the abuse and all those things, and he begged everyone there, please forgive your parents, because that's the only hope we have, is that we have to heal. We have to forgive the people that harmed us and be the generation that changes that. And that's an invitation to you. Next quote, please. And this is from this book that one of you gave me, but I don't know who. So if this is your book, thanks for giving it to me. It says, those who think they have found the child because they found a religion or a subjective study they are content with are mistaken. When we find the child, the inner child, things become new. That's what we do in this space. It's not about learning words and tasks and skills and stuff. It's about remembering and finding that child within yourself so that when you look at the world, you also see possibilities, which is what the space that we're trying to cultivate and nurture here. And to not just see possibilities for yourself, but to see possibilities in the world, because they're full of possibilities, but we need to remember. Next quote. And this is something very magical that William Samuel, who wrote this book, says. The entire world is seen in a new light. In the mind's eye, we can equate child with photon, meaning light, which is also like the child within us, everywhere in space at once. The child is everywhere in our experience, not only available to assist our learning, but leading us into and out of experiences in order that we may more fully comprehend the nature of reality. Just like light permeates all existence, the child of you, still with you, still ever present, and still accessible, still able to see the world from wonder, from beauty, from imagination, and all the powers that we talk about in Unity, it's still there, it's still accessible, it has gone nowhere, and it's still holding you and leading you. So as we prepare to let you go, I just want to encourage you to remember who you are. Truly remember who you are. Save this world by allowing yourself to be who you were called to be. And I'm going to close it out with Michael Jackson's 12, he had what he called the Universal Children's Human Bill of Rights, excuse me. And he said, if I can pull it up, one of them was to, is that a chicken? It's a baby. Hey, yeah, thank you. All right. So these are Michael Jackson's Universal Children's Bill of Rights. And I want you to receive this to yourself. He said, the right to be loved without having to earn it. Because his whole life was a transaction. From a childhood, he had to earn money for his family. It was always transactional. The right to be protected without having to deserve it. The right to feel valuable even if you came into the world with nothing. The right to be listened to without having to be interesting. That's a good one. The right to be read a bedtime story without having to compete with the evening news or EastEnders, which is British like soap operas. The right to an education without having to dodge bullets at schools. The right to be thought of as adorable, even if you have a face only a mother could love. You are loved. You are lovable. And to put it into action, you have to remember that you are loving. There's going to be a lot of things in this life that are going to try to tell you otherwise. It's your choice if you listen. But if you do listen and get confused, we literally have no excuse. We have this place. We have this language. We have this ability to access this. Be an invitation. Receive it and be it. And let the world be what it can be. Let the world be love. Let the world change because you've changed. So it is.
I talked to you on the phone like last week, and I knew we was going to be good friends. I am here. I am whole as I am. I am safe. I am loved as I am. I am grateful and I am free. I am as perfect as can be. I am here. I am whole as I am. Nothing can illuminate the darkness like a serenade. Nothing can make peace like a song. Got a ways to go, but then we're closer than we've ever been. So let's walk together on and on. I am here. I am whole as I am. I am safe. I am loved as I am. I am grateful and I am free. I am as perfect as can be. I am here. I am whole as I am. I propose a family that looks a lot like you and me, including all the people that we love. Then we'll take a photograph of everybody as they laugh, put it in the book entitled Us. I am here. If you know it, sing it. I am whole as I am. Oh, you do know it. I am safe. I am loved as I am. I am grateful and I'm free. I am as perfect as can be. I am here. I am whole as I am. May seem just like a song, may seem just like a thought, but it soon will take hold and become a truth that's taught for generations and generations and generations. I am here, I am whole as I am. I love this. I am safe, I am loved as I am. I am grateful and I'm free. I am as perfect as can be. I am here, I am whole as I am. One more time, ready? I am here, I am whole as I am. I am safe, I am loved as I am. Grateful and free. I am grateful and I'm free. I'm as perfect as can be. There is nothing wrong with me. I am here. I am whole as I am. Oh, just as I am. I am here. I am whole